How you going, guys, and welcome back to another video with the 146. Now, I was doing this just before, but my sim crashed, so I'm doing it again. I really want to get this out to people. Alright, so go ahead and stop the aircraft there. So we've just done a pushback, we've just done our startup. So we're basically going to get ready for the taxi out and departure. This is basically a LNAV departure and how we go about doing such things. So we're going to be doing a little bit of setting up as well. So I haven't actually set the FMS up, so it's going to be in like an FMS tutorial at the same time. So we will get onto that right now. Alright, so the very first thing, we want to make sure that we have the FMS sorted. So we've got no flight plan. So like I've done in the past with the FMS tutorial, we'll go over to the route menu and we select from Sim Brief, which I already have a flight plan done. You may have to select either a north or a southern waypoint. All of my waypoints are in the southern, so you can pick up that. And now our flight plan is in. If we go and have a look at our legs, we've got our legs and all that stuff sorted. Okay, so we need to see where we're going to be departing from. So I know I'm taking off from runway 19 left. Alright, so on runway 19 left, I got it here. Just swap it over. You should be able to see it now. So bring that there. There we go. Alright, so we're going to be departing on runway 19 left, which is this one here, 196 out, to Kitty, Tojin, and then Ignis. And we have some restrictions here. This restriction's until, so it's both the whole entire thing. So that's the whole restriction, and we have to be at 5,000 above at Tojin. Over here we have to be at 10,000 above at Ignis, okay? And then continue to climb. So, how do we go about doing that? Let's go ahead and put those in. So if we have a look on the FMS, you probably can't see the mouse, so I'm going to just say where I'm going. So the first thing I'm going to go is Depart and Approach, or ARR. Click on that. And then we're going to click on 19 left, which is already green because it's picked up our thing. So make sure it's on the runway heading that you have been assigned. We're going to page over and go to my SID, Standard Initial Departure. Okay, now it's going to work it, and for some reason it's not working properly. So we're just going to hit twice and then hit OK. Once it's green, it's good. But as you can see, it does not come up with the waypoints. Okay, so we need to put in those waypoints. So I think it is CITEE. Like that. Okay, so that's how you put that waypoint in. So the next waypoint we want to put in is Tojin. So we want to put TOGIN and put it after Kitty but before Wacko. So we just click on Wacko. And then the other one was IGMAS. Again, same thing. Alright, so we need to set some boundaries. So you can do it two ways. So 240 is our speed. Or, so if it's under 3 digits, if it's 3 digits, it'll go there. If it's over 3 digits, it'll go into your altitude. But if we want to do the whole thing, we go 240/5000. We can put it at Tojin, and it will do both. But Ignis is only 10,000, so we can just do 10,000. There you go. So now, we could also put 250 at Ignis to know that we can go up to 10,000 feet. At Wacko, we're not going to worry about Wacko, but our flight level today, and according to my flight plan, is flight level 300, flight level 300. And we can put that there again in the next one. And you'll find these on your flight plans. And I'll also have flight level over here. And after, there we go. Alrighty, and then I'll do the rest when we get ready for landing. So we'll just hit execute and done. So that is our flight plan ready to go. However, how does it all work with LNAV? Now, departing on LNAV is pretty simple. A lot of people just come up here and go, bam, oh no, it's not working. Why isn't it not working? Or they press a keybind. That's probably because they haven't turned their switch up to RNAV or HSI RNAV, which could be similar to the CDI in other aircraft. So changing from FMS to VOR to VOR2 or maybe whatever you want to change it to. So that is what that does. Now if you have a look down here, it has given us some distance to run to our runway or the next point. Okay, so it's not taking us to our runway, I think it's taking us to Kitty. So as you can see, it's now on VOR ILS. Now it's on RNAV, as you can see in the windows, RNAV. Right. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road out to the runway. We also need to select our runway heading. So we'll quickly do that. So the heading which that you can see on the Navigraph right there is 196. I've been in and out this airport. I know this airport almost back to front. It's quite scary. Right. We'll just do that. Get 196. And over here we'll set the radio for 13020. That is just the VOR for Brisbane. Okay. Another thing we can do real quickly before takeoff is click our little page here. That will give us some numbers and stuff for the aircraft. Okay. We'll turn the powers on and tested. No, it hasn't done that. You'd think it would. Alright, so, yeah. For some reason it hasn't set our flex temps. We'll set to takeoff. There we go. That's why it hasn't done it. So we'll set all our stuff to our takeoff settings. Alright, so let's go through the checklist before we leave. So we'll make sure we do that after start. So after start is so both selects start, select, and both off. So they are both off. Anti-ice as required. Now it is wet outside, so we're going to leave that on. Up here we're going to check make sure that the AC pump and the PTU are on. Okay, we'll just leave it to auto because that's what we're going to have. Alright. We're going to turn all the heaters on, which they are. We're going to select APU and all packs, which they are. The TMS is on. The transponder to TA. Lights on. Taxi lights are coming on with your navigation lights and your beacon. And brakes tested on roll. Alright. We'll do the before takeoff checklist when we start rolling out then. Now, as I always do, because I am on VATSIM, I'm going to tell the traffic here that we are taxiing or ready to taxi to the runway. So here we go. Brisbane traffic, QJet 441 to Logitech, taxiing for runway 19 on the left, departing to the west via Charlie 1, Bravo 1, holding short Alpha 1, runway 19 left. Brisbane. Alright, so that is that. Alright, we also need, because I restarted, I have forgotten a few things.
If I could have
I'm just going to reset
while we review safety information, that would be great. When the seatbelt sign illuminates, you must fasten your seatbelt. Insert the metal fittings one into the other and tighten by pulling on the loose end of the strap. You can release your seatbelt by lifting the upper portion of the buckle. It's recommended that you keep your seatbelt fastened during the flight in case we experience turbulence. There's several emergency exits on this aircraft. Please take a moment now to locate the nearest exit to you. In some cases, your nearest exit may be behind you. If we need to evacuate the aircraft, floor-level lighting will guide you toward the exit. Doors can be opened by moving the handle in the direction of the arrow. Each door is equipped with an inflatable slide which may also be detached and used as a life raft. Oxygen and air pressure are consistently monitored. In the event of a decompression, an oxygen mask will fall in front of you from the ceiling. To start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you and place it firmly over your mouth and nose. Secure the elastic band behind your head and breathe normally. Although the bag does not inflate, oxygen is flowing to the mask. If you're traveling with a child or someone who needs assistance, secure your own mask first, then assist the other person. Keep your mask on until a crew member advises you to remove it. In the event of an emergency, please assume the bracing position, leaning forward with your hands on top of your head and your elbows against your thighs. Ensure your feet are flat on the floor. A life vest is located in a pouch under your seat or between the armrests. When instructed to do so, open the plastic pouch and remove the vest. Slip it over your head, pass the straps around your waist, and adjust at the front. Only when leaving the aircraft, inflate the vest by pulling firmly on the red cord. If you need to refill the vest, blow into the mouthpiece. Use the whistle and light to attract attention. Also, your seat bottom cushion can be used as a flotation device. Pull the cushion from the seat, slip your arms into the straps, and hug the cushion to your chest. Electronic devices such as MP3 players, phones, and laptop computers may be used when the seatbelt sign is off or when permitted by the crew. Mobile phones must be turned off at all times. This is a non-smoking flight. Remember that damaging the smoke detectors located in the lavatories is prohibited by law. You will find this and all other safety information in the card located in the seat pocket in front of you. We strongly suggest you read it before takeoff. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask myself or one of our crew members. We wish you all an enjoyable flight.
All right. That was just my Q virtual thing talking there. Anyway, so we're going to do the before takeoff checklist. You can do this at the hold point or on the way out, so you don't have to sort it all out there. So we've already checked. We're not going to be stopping really with the brakes. So brakes are set. 18 on the dial over there. All right. Flight instruments free and correct. So I've turned mine off, but we know it's free and correct. There's also a way to make sure that it's free. There's a button down here on the actual that locks it to make sure that's unlocked. See? So you got to make sure it's unlocked. That button is just the what do you call it? A little handheld radio there. All right, so flight controls are done. Your FD is over here on the dashboard, both left and right. Now, the left and right, the only things that are synced, right, are the altimeters, and that is via a setting. Everything else is not synced, so you got to remember that. Whatever you do on this side has to be reflected on the right-hand side if you're flying on the right-hand side. And so the rest of it, so we need to make sure that our trims are set and checked. So we check our trims down here. Now, how do we set our trims? Well, there's a really neat feature in here. We just go over here and we hit the CG. And that's it. Trims reset. Okay? So you just hit the CG. Cabin is secure, so because we've already secured the cabin, that's fine. If we have a look down here, cabin secure for takeoff. It's okay. Alright, so we've done that. Weather radar as required. We're going to set the radar on. However, there is no actual radar in the sim at the moment, so we're just going to select map, because that's the only one that works. Landing lights all on. Landing lights on. There we go. Pretty much everything is selected. Strobes on. We're good. TMS is on for takeoff, which is okay. And flight controls free and correct. And the MWS is selected and good. Now it is raining, so we have our anti-ice protections turned on. Okay. I'm going to turn off our windscreen wiper here. Dark. And we're pretty much all good. Alright, so now we're ready to go on the runway, but there's a few more things that we can do. We can select LNAV. We can select our altitude. And that is basically it. Now, there's a really quick thing that a lot of people don't know about this aircraft. There is what we call Sync Autopilot. Now, in the... if we have a look at the... let me bring up real quickly. This is a very useful bit of information in the manual of the aircraft. Just lock that there. Bring up the manual of the aircraft here. Let's get rid of Navigraph for a second. I wasn't actually planning on bringing it. We'll just bring the manual up here, and then we'll bring up the help. And we want to look for Autopilot Sync. Oops, I wrote that wrong. Sync. Alright, so Autopilot Sync is the electrical elevator trim switches dormant to engage Autopilot Sync. So we want to find where the Autopilot Sync is. Now there is a few. I think that was the one that I wanted. Okay, so how does the Autopilot Sync work? It basically kind of disconnects it, and it doesn't. So with vertical speed, mode engaged, use the Autopilot Sync feature to adjust the selected speed. So this is going to be done manually. Now to toggle this on and off is your afterburner. So because this obviously doesn't have afterburner, that's the thing. So basically you want to set a keybind for that. So it's not disengaging the autopilot, it's just syncing the autopilot, okay? So there's two distinct differences between the autopilot on and the autopilot off, okay? So if we go back to the sim, alright, you have a look. If we just head back to the sim now, I will just get rid of that and I'll bring that up. So we have a look down here. We have autopilot on, okay? So that is just in. So that's just on, okay? Right? As you can see, the aircraft is starting to turn and do all sorts of funky things, okay? So the autopilot sync is a little different. So if I press the button that I have selected for sync, you'll see here on the upfront display it went white, okay? So the autopilot is still on. If we have a look down here, it is still on, but it is now synced, okay? That means I can control the autopilot to do what I want it to do in a thing, and then I press the sync button again and it goes back to its own thing. Does that make sense? So now it's disengaged, as you can see that red light that popped up on the screen. Okay, so as long as you get that out of your way, that it's not a disengage, it's just a sync, it's fine. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we're going to take off. Brisbane traffic, QJet 441 and taking off runway 19 left for long reach, Western departure. Alright, so we'll go out. We've got our lights and all that sort of stuff sorted. We've got all our aircraft up and going. Brakes off, lights are on, all good. Our runway heading selected. Our alt arm is on, LNAV is on. Right, so there's a few things that we're going to do, and I'm going to talk you through them as we're taxiing out here. So once we get out here, we're going to put on our parking brakes, and then we're going to throttle up until 55%. Then it should say, the co-pilot should say TMS set or something, and then we're going to go up to full power and release the brakes. Then he'll say thrust set and a lot of both sides and all that sort of stuff, and he'll go through his motions. At about 1,500, after, because he'll say gear up and all that stuff, at 1,500 we'll raise the flaps, lower the nose, and we will bring our speeds up to 177, which is the white marker on our speed indicator, as you can see right there, the white marker. So we'll bring our speeds up to that spot. Then we'll lower the nose and let it get up there. And then what we can do is, once it is set, we can set IMS so we don't go too far over, and then we'll let it speed up and do a whole bunch of stuff. So I will walk you through it as we go. So brakes are on.
TMS set to takeoff.
TMS set for takeoff. Okay, that's 55 done. Now you just raise it a little bit further.
Power set, N1 achieved.
Power set, N1 achieved.
Speed alive, both sides.
Speed alive as both sides, good. Try and maintain center line. I'm not very good
checked
with this, but
V1. Rotate. V2.
Was it a right gear up, I guess? My gears automatically came up, didn't have that down properly. Anyways, we just continue climbing and following the line. This is all manual right now. Maintaining V2 speed. Trim if you have to. And maintaining a 1,000 foot climb. Alright, I'm going to set the autopilot here. Flaps come up. Now we're going to we're going to sink the aircraft. And we're going to lower our pitch. Just to get some speed. Select IMS. We're going to select our new altitude for about 2,000 feet. We're going to sink, and then we go. Alright, so we've synced our aircraft. As you can see, we have the aircraft synced for our departure. We're climbing at just over 2,000. Nice and good. We're still staying under the 240 knots, which we've synced our flight to the white by using the IMS button. And we've also synced our vertical pitch. Now there's a manual way of doing an automatic way of doing it is if you have a keybind, and for me I have the Bravo throttle quadrant. I can select vertical speed and change the vertical speed within the aircraft what I want as well. Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to increase the height now up to flight level 180, so we continue flying. And this here is Alt-Arm, which means once we get to that height, it will switch over to Alt-Hold. So if you want to keep it climbing, make sure you change that before it gets there. Alright, so we're over our restrictions, as you can see on the Navigraph there. So we're at 5,000 above. And we're coming up to Tojin now, according to Navigraph that I have left on the screen for you. Flying through some clouds at the moment. So, once we've done that, we can go in to our after takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist, landing gears up and lights out, flaps up, yep, and we can make sure that they're up on the knob. TMS sync required, so we can now sync and set it for 88 knots. Not 88 knots, sorry. 88 and 1. You can do that anywhere after the 1,500. Make sure it's about 88 for your cruise. Alright, so TMS sync is required, engine air all on. Select that, APU air off. Okay, and packs on both pressurizing, which they are. Are we pressurizing? We can check over here on the pilot side. We are pressurizing. Alright, now we can have a look at the climb. So we can go PTU and ACU pump off. We can leave that on auto. and we can have that on off. APU stop and fasten seatbelts as required, which they are on. Lights is required. We aren't over 10,000 just yet, but we can be soon. Alright, so we're well and truly ready for the our 250. So we can hit the sync button, lower the nose, turn IMS off, let the aircraft catch up some speed.
Ladies and gentlemen,
10,000 feet, we can turn our lights off.
once we reach our cruising altitude, flight attendants will be making their way to the cabin. Please drink. Now sit back, relax, and have a great flight.
10,000 feet, we can release the cab. That sometimes works. If it doesn't, you can come over here and hit release crew. Now I'm manually flying this at the moment with the sync button enabled. Just letting it get up to speed for now. Alright, so that's where I want it to be. Now we'll select IMS again. Not exactly where I want it to be, but that's fine. We'll select our altitude for 1,500 feet per minute. Our vertical speed. I'll just manipulate the aircraft to do what I want. There it is. And we're off. We can also select set standard. So we select standard, which is 29902 or 1013. And then we go. So that is basically how you take off. Now we're clear of the clouds, we're clear of the rain. Icing conditions are no longer, but monitoring anyways. Now that down there is not a warning, that's just fuel transfer because I have fuel in the center tank. So apart from that, guys, that's basically how you depart in the 146 on an LNAV. Basically the same for RNAV as well. If you have the charts in front of you, you know where your restrictions have to be. You can completely take out the FMS altogether, and then you'll have to do everything as manual as possible with charts and stuff. The FMS is just good there to help you if you wish to use it that way. Anyways, the next video will be on landing on an RNAV approach, not an ILS, just an RNAV approach into the airfield that I'm going to be going to. That's going to be roughly in the next 2 hours, but you'll see the video pretty much straight after this one. I'll upload both of them roughly together. Alright guys, so until then, see you later, and enjoy flying the 146 just like I have been. See you later.